Morning everybody, how are we all? Did we have a nice weekend? For those of you that were able to get out in the garden, I hope that you did, and those of you that aren't able to get out in the garden, I hope you threw all your windows open and let all that nice warm air and sunshine into your house, flat, apartment, whatever it is you may be in. So I hope you've all had a really lovely weekend. Unfortunately it's a bit cloudy out there today and a bit sort of, you know, overcast, but hey, yesterday was beautiful, so we have to make the most of what we've got. So this morning we are going to I've got to get used to this mirror thing. We are going to be making this. Okay, this is using the Paper Artsy Tracy's new stencil. Okay, so we will be using that. Morning Margaret. Yes, I had a lovely weekend, thank you, very relaxing. Well, it was until last night, but I'll talk to you about that later. Our exciting news. I'm using this stencil, which my very good friend Eileen was using last week in her demo, so I'll be using that. And I'm also using my Wow embossing pad. I'm using the Wow Superfine embossing powder. I'm using Pink and Main Smile again, because I think we all need to smile at the moment because it will get us through this. And my Pink and Main Smile die. Morning Beverly. Hiya Louise. There we go. Okay, so without further ado, I'm going to take my brayer. So I'm using Speedball brayer. You can use your little tiny one if you want to. Right, actually it might help if I turn you around, mightn't it? Then you'll be able to see what I'm doing. Okay, let's just move that. That's better. Okay, everybody see. Super, lovely. Okay, so hi Karen, how are you? Hope you're well. Super smooth paper artsy 300 GSM card, as always, my go-to. Unless hi Linda, unless I want to be using watercolour card, this is what I always use. Morning Debbie. Okay, so we are going to be using Sargasso, if that's how you pronounce it. Apologies if it's not. Morning Hazel. Oh, you're not late, my lovely. It's all right. We've only just started, so it's fine. Oh, I'm glad you got your parcel full of goodies. So you're going to be busy today, Jane. Dirty Lime, which is one of my favourites. Morning Sheila. Ochre. Again, these are all Tracy's colours, so you know where I'm going with this, don't you? So they're the three colours that we're using. For those of you that have just joined me, this is the card that we're making today. Using Tracy Scott stencil PS187. Okay, it's one of her new ones that are available at the moment from me, but they're not available online at Paper Artsy just yet, because they're due to be released on Thursday this week, so big release. I'm sure you all saw Jo Firth Young's release yesterday at 7:30. She was live on Paper Artsy People, so go back and watch that if you can. Morning Heather, my favourite drug dealer. That's funny. I love that when you say that. That's very funny. Morning Beryl. Okay. Right, that does make me chuckle, Heather. Right. So, going straight on to our card today. So, give your paints a nice little shake. And we're going to start off with the darkest colour. The reason I'm starting off with this one is because this is an opaque. With all Paper Artsy paints, you get opaque, you get semi-opaque, and you get translucent. Okay, by the little bit on the front here, the little bit of paint that goes over some chevrons, okay, you can see, you can't see through it. So that means that that is opaque. Translucent, they give you a little bit here, so you can see that that is a translucent paint because you can see through it. Which is why our base layer is going to be the opaque, because you can't see through opaque, but you can see through the translucence, which we're going to pop on top. Hi, Louise. That's the other Louise. That's Louise R. I said hello to Louise S earlier, but that's Louise R. Okay, so I am going to pick up some of this paint on my brayer. I'm going to take it off. Look, I'm making a lovely mess. So I'm going to take some of it off, put it on, take it off, and then I'm going to go straight onto my card. I've got a floppy wrist, okay? Don't push too hard, all right? Because we want a very light covering, okay? We don't want great big lines. That's the mistake that a lot of people make, okay? So very, very floppy wrist. And can you see the way I am just really lightly touching down with that colour, okay? Pick up some more paint. Paper Artsy paint dries very quickly. Okay, so again, I am keeping my brayer going in the same direction all the time, and I am turning my card. Thank you, Eileen. Morning, Karen. I'm turning my card, keeping my wrist nice and floppy, turning my card, keeping my brayer going in the same direction. Okay, now that gives me a really lovely covering. You see that? Okay, so I'm going to take my cloth. I'm just going to give my brayer a wipe. Very quickly, just going to mop this up here. I'm not really too worried. I'll give it a proper clean at the end. So now I'm going to take my dirty lime. It's one of my favourite colours. Let's just get rid of that off the top there. Okay. So let's pop a blob there. And then we're going to pick that up on our brayer. Now you can see the consistency of this is very, very different because it's translucent. You can see through it. You can see that already by the coverage that I've got on my glass mat there. Again, floppy wrist. And I'm just going to touch very, very lightly. And again, my brayer is always going in the same direction, so I'm not ending up with a piece going across like that, because that just wouldn't sit comfortably with the eye. So just move your card around. Okay, and I'm just picking up the last little bit there. If I want it a little bit heavier, I just push harder, okay, and then really lightly on that side bit. Okay, so you can see that I'm getting a very sort of patchy effect, which is just what I'm after. But you can also see the translucent, you can see through, so you can see the sargasso, yeah, you know what I mean. You can see the sargasso underneath, so we are layering up our layers of paint here, our different colours, but they're not turning to mud, they're not turning brown or yucky. You're seeing the true colour through, okay, which is just perfect. So let's just give that a quick mop up. As I say, I'll clean this properly at the end. Brayer a quick wipe, and then we're going to go on to our ochre. Quick shake. With the translucent ones, you do need to give them a shake because they can sort of separate slightly at the top. These ones don't get a chance to do that because I use them too much. Okay, so again, you'll see the consistency is very, very different to the opaque. I'm just picking that up with my brayer. And I'm going to start this side. So very floppy wrist again, very lightly, just touching that down. Okay, now this colour it's not the same as obviously ochre, but it's quite similar. So we might add just a little bit more to that. So again, my brayer is always going in the same direction. I'm just turning my paper around so that everything looks symmetrical. I haven't got any lines going over the side, okay, or coming down diagonally, because that just would not look very nice at all. And I'm just going to add a little bit more here. So you can see I'm pushing harder on this one because I just want that yellowy colour to come through. So I'm just pushing a little bit harder. There we go. Okay, so you can just see the lemon through there. Okay, so that's pretty much my background sorted. Give my brayer a clean and we'll get that clean afterwards. Just mop up the paint excess here so we don't get contaminated. Now by the time I finish doing all of this, my paint will be dry. So now I'm going to take all three colours. I'm going to have a little blob of one. Actually, before I do that, hang on, let me, I've forgotten to do me, where's my card gone? Let's have a look. Right, no, I'm fine, I'm fine. I'm fine. Okay, so all three colours. I know, Tanya, aren't they beautiful colours? These are the Tracy Scott colours that she's had in sort of packs. I'm not sure if they came as a group, but anyway, these are her colours, so they are beautiful. Yeah, Louise, you're saying the same. They're absolutely gorgeous colours, aren't they? Right, so again, using Tracy's new stencil PS187, I am going to lay that over the top. Now, I have got a little bit over these sides where it doesn't quite fit, but I'm not worried about that. I'm going to move that over here very slightly so that you can see better. You can see just this little tip here, but that's fine. It's not a problem. That just all adds to it. And I'm just going to clip this in place just so it doesn't move. And I'm going to take my smoothie and we're going to go, first of all, we're going to go in with, in fact, I'm going to give myself some white here as well. So this is where we can start mixing and playing, okay? We're going to take some of this. This is the opaque and we're going on first with the opaque. And I'm not really thinking about where I'm putting this colour at all, okay? I'm just being really random. Sorry about the shaking. I won't bang so hard, otherwise you'll all end up feeling sick and having a headache. Going to another part on my smoothie, and I'm going to pick up my dirty line, and I'm just going to go over the areas that I haven't done with my Sargasso. Now, because that colour is opaque, we are going to have to add a little bit of white in there at the end, because otherwise you won't be able to see the design of the stencil. You see it, but it won't be very prominent. So now I'm going to go in with my ochre. And again, I'm just going over the areas that I've not touched as yet, and going over some of the Sargasso as well, just to blend it all together. Okay, so with that complete, I've gone over, so you can see from there, let me just turn that up slightly, can you see where I've gone over with the colour? I do, Tanya, you're right. You're right, I do need Eileen's homemade one. I was thinking that the other day when I was watching her using it. That's a really good idea. When I've got a couple of minutes, I'll see if I can make one. Okay, so now we're going to go in with the white. So again, the white is opaque, so you have to be really careful, okay? We don't want the white to take away all the lovely colour that we've put down. So pop that onto your sponge and take most of it off, and then very gently start to add just a little bit of shading, okay? So it is very, very gentle. I'll hold this up in a minute so that you can see, but I think you can see now that's too hard, but I'm not going to worry too much about that, because while that's wet, I can take some of that off. Okay, so you really, really do need just a very, very small amount. Sorry, I'm shaking you, aren't I? I do apologise. I'll try and be a little bit less heavy-handed. Okay. Right, so the best way to go forward with the next stage is just to have a sneaky little look. So to do that, actually I'll do it this way so that you can see. I'm just going to take that off and lift that up, and you can see, yes, yep, that's actually starting to look really, really good. I'm going to pop that back down, because what I do want to do is just add a little bit more Sargasso in there, just a very, very small amount. Again, just a small amount onto my brush, onto my smoothie, and I'm just going to tap. I'm tapping, but I'm tapping really, really lightly around just those top edges of my stencil, okay? Really light, only because they'd lost the clarity of it a little bit, so I wanted to bring back, just bring back those edges. Okay, right, let's have another sneaky peek. Yes, that's perfect, that's much better. That can now go and be washed. And here we have so far. Okay, so what I want to do now, I'm just going to take this colour away, is I want to add in my stencil. Okay, so let me show you the card, and you can see on there these lines coming across. Okay, and what I'm going to do with that is I'm using this is a Tim Holtz stencil. I'm going to lay it on my project, and I'm going to take some kitchen roll. I'm using kitchen roll because, as with the smoothie, okay, it's spongy, it soaks it all up, and you'll get a very, very bold line. With the tissue paper, with the kitchen roll, it doesn't do that. The paint sort of tends to lay on top of it, so you get more of a scratchy effect. There's a bit here and a bit there, and it's a bit thick here and it's a bit thick there. That's the look that I'm looking for. So again, I'm putting it on, but I'm taking it off, and then I'm just going to dab it on. Okay, hold it in place. Can you see that? Hold is quite difficult, so I'm going to hold it in place, and I'm just going to take those lines and I'm going to take them back to the edge and just pull them in. And as I say, it's going to be really scratchy. I'm not going to do all of them. Let's have a look. Yep, that's great. So that's getting to where I want it to be. Maybe add a little bit more and just pull it along. Oops. There we go. And you can see that's my first lot of lines. Morning, June. That's all right, my lovely. You can watch me back afterwards if you want to. It doesn't. That's the great thing about these Facebook Lives. It doesn't matter if you're late joining or anything like that, because you can watch back whenever you want, because we always post them onto our Forget Me Not Craft Cabin page, and I also share it onto my own page as well. There we go. So you can see now that those lines are coming across nicely, and I'm just going to put one more down there, use up the ink that I've got, the paint that I've got down here. Okay, there we go. So that just gives us a little bit more interest in there. So, right, so next I'm going to take the top of my embossing powder. I'm going to put some paint down on here. Morning, Jean. Just going to move that around a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to dip my top in, because I want some circles. Again, this is just laying paint down, which gives you lots and lots of focal points, interest, etc. Okay, so again, there we go. Yes, of course, it's Leslie's birthday today. Leslie Stewart, you're not watching, I don't think. Well, I haven't seen you come up, but happy 80th birthday. It's such a shame we're not at the shop because we can't celebrate, but as soon as we're back to normal, we will be celebrating, my lovely. So have a lovely, fantastic day, Leslie, won't you? Thank you, June, for reminding me of that. I did remember this morning, but yeah, it slipped my mind while we were doing this. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use my smoothie again. I shouldn't have mopped up that white paint because we're going to need some. Okay, so a little bit of white paint. And now what I'm going to do is I am just going to soften the edges. Okay, so very lightly, very light tapping I am going just around the edges of my card, and this just gives you a really soft effect. And again, please don't push too hard. If you go like that, you're going to end up with a splodge of paint, but just little tiny taps. And if it's not enough for you, you can always go back in and add some more. But if you go in and you put in too much, it's really it's a lot more difficult to take it out than it is to add more. So I just want the tiniest bit, because that actually on there is dried. That's too much, but just to add around those sides. Okay, and then I am just very slightly going to come in a little bit more at this area here, and a little bit more down in this corner here. Okay, and you can see the way that makes it a really soft. Yeah, you could use a credit card to make the lines. I did have one in here. Obviously, don't use your credit card that you use all the time. Let me just see. I might have one. I don't think I did have one. I don't seem to be able to find it at the moment. But if you've got a credit card, and we've done this in the shop quite a few times, you just put your paint down, get your credit card, turn it either side on or short side on, dab it in, and just down the sides, okay, wherever you want them. Okay, so yeah, that's really, really good. Really good. There are always ways around everything. Okay, if you haven't got the equipment that we're using in the classes, obviously you can buy it from me, but you can use alternatives that you might have in your craft stash already. Okay, so we're going to pop that to one side now. As you can see, that's pretty much dry now, so that's all ready to go. What we're going to do next is we are going to create. So I have already die cut my smile, just because, to save us a little bit of time. But this is smile. Whoop, I've got it. Hold on, there we go. Okay, this is smile, and I have die cut that from the Pink and Main dies. We used these last week. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take my Wow embossing pad, and I'm going to dip my smile into here. So I'm just going to push that in, and then we're going to cover that. I'm going to pop that in now, and we're going to cover it with our silver superfine Wow embossing powder. Okay, give it a good shake. I'm going to lay it on there. Let's put our powder back into our pot. And guess what I've got? I have got the correct heat tool. You can see, small nozzle, so much more accurate. Yes, we are the right way round today. That's all right, Susan, no problem. You can, as I was saying earlier, the good thing about these Facebook Lives is that you can watch it back afterwards, because I post it to our Facebook page. So never worry about being late, because you can watch it back. Okay, so I'm just going to pick that up. I'm going to stop. Do you know what helps? Do you know what helps? It doesn't work unless you plug it in. So let's plug in our heat gun. There we go. So I'm going to start on, this is a great heat gun. This has got two settings. I'm starting on the lowest setting. Just going to heat that up a little bit. And then lift it off my glass mat. Let's see if I can show you it changing. Can you see that changing? So you can see that this nozzle is much more concentrated on one particular area, rather than blowing hot air all over the image. So I can be a lot more controlled in what part I am heating and what part is melting. So there's my nice shiny smile. I'm actually going to add a second layer to this. This is all now dry, so it dries really, really quickly. I'm going to pop that in my ink pad again. It's not going to do any damage to my ink pad because it's dry, so do make sure that it's dry before you do that. And then we're going to pop our silver over the top, and this is just going to fill in any little gaps that I've missed, and it's going to give it a second layer of embossing powder, and it's going to make it nice and chunky. Let's pop that out the way. And again, we're going to lift that off of the glass mat because we don't want condensation underneath it, and plus also it takes longer to heat. So that's changing nice and quickly. I don't know if you can see that. Hopefully you can, but it goes from a very dull silver to a really lovely bright silver. So we'll heat all that up. That's all done. Oh, excuse my dog in the back garden. Obviously something's upset her. Okay. And you can see that that is really lovely, thick and shiny. Okay. So let's pop that to one side. And then we're going to stamp Be Happy. Now, I did get myself out a piece of card, but I seem to have lost it. Not to worry. So, in here, we're using the Pink and Main sentiments. There we go. And I am going to be using Be Happy and then my smile. So, clear embossing pad. Tap, tap, tap. Just pop this, my paper's underneath because that just gives me an extra bit of sponge. You could do this on your stamp and press. You put a mat underneath, anything at all. So again, holding it in place, letting it sink in, lift it off. Then in with my embossing powder. I can't remember where I stamped it now. There we go. Okay. And there is my Be Happy and. So let's pop that back. Pop that out of the way. Pop this over here. And then we give this again on a low setting. Let it heat up first. Not on your glass mat. You can do it from underneath if you want to. It doesn't really make any difference. You can't see that because there's a real glare on that. So let me just... There we go. And you can see that says Be Happy. Let's cut that down. I always do it like this because I do it on a big piece of card and up into the corner that I want, because then I've only got to cut it twice. I've only got to cut it twice instead of 3 times. Or no, 4 times. 4 edges, 4 times. There we go. So that's my little bit. Just there. Excuse the dirty fingers. Look at that. That shows I've had a good time crafting. Right, pop that out of the way. Then all I need to do is I'm going to take a little bit of my dirty line, and I might be able to just grab that off the top of there, which I can, which is lovely. And I am just going to put that around the edge so it ties in with the rest of my card. Okay. There we go. So I'm just going to pop that there to dry. These will stain, but don't worry, just give them a wash with some warm water. Wash them through, give them a squeeze, make sure you get all the paint out of them, and they're perfectly okay to use for your next project. Right, so now we can put all this together. So mine's gone onto a white blank 6x6 cardstock. Okay, I just wanted, normally I back my cards in black, but this one I just wanted to leave it sort of quite fresh and light. The black darkened it too much, so I decided just to leave it as it was. So you can mount that onto the back of your blank cardstock. You're going to stick your smile down, So let me do that, otherwise it's just going to fall off. So decide where you want your smile first before you put in your Be Happy. I just get my nice Cosmic Shimmer acrylic glue because it's got a nice thin point, and it dries clear if any of it pops out underneath. So I'm going to, should we put this in a different place this time? No, actually I like it in the bottom there because it's nicely proportioned. Okay, there we go. So there's my smile in place. That's all right, Val, no problem. No problem. You can go back and watch me on our Facebook page. There's our smile. And then I'm going to add a few foam pads to my Be Happy and hopefully that dirty lime is dry around the edges. If it's not the end of the world. Okay, and I'm going to add that the right way round and just over the S. There we go. Okay. So let's get that in the right place. There we go, that's better. So we've got Be Happy and Smile. Now all I've added on top of that is some enamel accents. So that's because I can't be faffing with the little eye that comes out of the top of the smile, because that is just a faff. I've added a little white enamel accent to that. And then just to tie it in with the rest of the page, I've dotted them around just a little bit. Okay. I have also added some glossy accents. Now the glossy accents I've just added, let me see if I can show you. Actually, before we do that, oh sorry, hang on a minute. I think my dog is tormenting the life out of my poor cat. Right, this is a Sakura Jelly Roll pen, and I've just gone round the edge of some of the little stencil droplets or flower petals. Okay, not all of them, just some of them. Okay, so it's up to you how many you go round, but let me show you. Can you see on that one I've gone round just a few. And I'm just going to take my glossy accents. Now when you're using glossy accents, the same as when you're using the enamel accents, you never shake your pot. You always just squeeze and then push it round, okay? And always leave it to dry flat. So I tend to go around the edge of where I want the glossy accents, and then I squeeze just a little bit and move it around with the nozzle. Now if you get an air bubble or anything like that, just prick it with a pin. You prick it with a pin and it will disperse it. I'm in competition with my dog here, aren't I? And then you won't end up with a hole. What happens is, if you leave the bubble there, you'll end up with a hole, because as it dries, it will create a dome, not a dome, an indent. Okay, so I'm not going to sit there and do too much of that, because you know how to do that. Let me just take that off. There we go. But I have, you can see where I've started to put the glossy accents, and I would do that all the way around the centre there. Can you see? Oh, you're welcome, Liz. Don't forget to post. If you do this, don't forget to post it so that I can see what you've been doing. Okay, so that basically concludes our card for today. Before you all leave, let me just have a quickie word, because you will notice that we have been doing quite a lot of Facebook Lives recently. Over the weekend I was in talks with paperartsy, and we are going to be doing lives with Jo Firth Young and Tracy Scott. I can't give you too much detail on Tracy Scott because she's got a new stamp release coming up this week. So Jo Firth Young's was released yesterday, at 8 o'clock, just after the Queen's speech, I might hasten to add. You can go on, inbox me if you want to join. Basically what it is a secret Facebook page. It's only for people that have paid that can enter. So what we're doing is I'm asking everybody that wants to join to inbox me. There is a snippet of what Jo will be doing. She'll be using her new release stamps on it. I will send you my backs details. It's £15 and the actual Facebook Live lasts for about an hour and a half. But you will be on that page forever. So you can watch that over and over again as many times as you want to. Okay, if you can't make it live, then don't worry, because you'll be in the group, so you can watch it at any time. Okay, obviously if you can watch it live, you can throw questions at Jo and she can answer them live for you. So it's a really nice way of communicating with the designers as well. So we have got Tracy coming on board Saturday week, the 18th of October. I wish it was October. The 18th of April. So again, details for that will be launched 8 o'clock on Thursday. All the products that you'll need for the classes will be listed in the Facebook page for you, and you can buy those all from me. Okay, so you just need to send me a list of what you want and I will get it all for you. If you're local, I'll deliver it. If you're not, I'll make sure it gets in the post in time. And just another little recap, later on today, fingers crossed, or it could even be tomorrow, but I will let everybody know, I'm going to be doing a sale. Now, rather than me sit here and take photo after photo after photo, which takes forever, and if I'm totally honest, I'm so busy at the moment, I haven't got time to sit here and take loads of photos. So what I plan on doing is doing another Facebook Live. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the stock that we've got. I'm going to show you what's for sale, what's in the sale, how much it is, and if you want it, what you need to do is you need to comment on the live page as I'm doing it, and at that point I can sit here and I can write it down. So we might be on there for about, I don't know, half an hour even maybe, but I'm going to do it that way purely because it's quicker for me in the long run. So I'm fingers crossed I'm going to try and do that tonight. If I say to you at the moment I'm going to go live at 7 o'clock. If you can make it, great. If you can't, then obviously you can watch it back, and if the items are still available, then obviously you can still have them. So that's 7 o'clock this evening for our Facebook Live sale. Anything other than that, if there's anything you want from today's Facebook Live, just give me a shout like you have been. And I just want to conclude by saying, stay inside, everybody. Please, please, please. I know probably most of you are. Keep safe, and I will see you all tomorrow at 11 a.m. I have no idea now what I'm doing tomorrow, so it's going to be a big surprise. I know I said I was going to do the moulds, but they do take time to prepare up. So, and at the weekend I was so busy I didn't actually have a chance to do it. But take care, everybody, and thank you so much for tuning into our Facebook Live. I'll see you all at 7 o'clock for the sale and 11 o'clock tomorrow morning for our Facebook Live card making session. Take care. Bye.